This is America. The greatest atrocity against mankind. American chattel slavery. If you traced your lineage, what would you find? Do you know where your roots lead to?
Celebrate the foundational Black American culture of freedom fighting and resistance with the first annual Aryticity 5K run. This cultural experience will honor our FBA ancestors and icons while harnessing energy from our past to power our future. There will be security at this event to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable experience. Aryticity Run is a cultural event for family and friends. Strollers and wheelchairs are welcome. The in-person event will include a free 1-mile fun walk and will be held on December 17th in Tampa, Florida. Unable to make the live event? You can also participate virtually anywhere from December 17th to December 30th. All registered participants will receive the official Aryticity Run finisher medal, t-shirt, and more with the ability to upload their race time to the official site. Live event participants will receive the time race scores, professional finisher photo, video, and your name will be announced as you're welcomed across the finish line. Enjoy the post-race after party and refuel with a traditional FBA breakfast. You can also help us settle fun family debates like sugar or salt and grits. Prepare with family workouts and runs and post on social media using the hashtag #Aryticity For register info and sponsorship opportunities, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Click the link in the bio. Hope to see you all there.
Grace and peace, Black family. This is Becky Dillard, your sister with the curly braids. And I want you to get ready for the new Master Elements project, the Spear and the Shield.
This vaccine isn't experimental. It's like a dandelion. You overlook it for they weird science.
DJ RP Beats and Sincere Love the God have taken this time during the pandemic to carefully craft the soundtrack to Black empowerment with hot tracks like God Mine, featuring Sadat X of the legendary group Brand Nubians.
We never die. I made an ancestral shrine. Let's see what's in the God's mind. Listen, I'm a law and a person of sincere of the God. That mean your arms too short like Carl Anthony Shaw.
God painted me black.
God painted me black. Thanks for that. I'm a original man.
A letter to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
I say to the ancestors. Dear Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, I just wanted to thank you for all the lessons you left us. So yes, I'm more than grateful.
And the controversial song Buck Breaking God today.
Why every black show they gotta have a transgender? Either I'm crazy or there's gotta be a planned agenda.
Get ready, Black family. This is a much needed project. This is the Spear and the Shield.
Become aware of the book, and they had already made a decision that this was a book that was to be suppressed at all costs.
Now, y'all right? Take a deep breath.
Yes, sir.
No, just take a deep breath. In volume 1 of The Secret Relationship, it goes into the horror of the transatlantic slave trade. And the Jewish people were heavily involved in that.
That's right.
How many of you have been to Elmina Castle at Cape Coast in Ghana? Would you raise your hands?
Yes, sir.
If you were there 15 years ago, on the doors of the castle, you would see a Star of David. If you go there now, they took it down because they did not want you to understand the connection that they have to the transatlantic slave trade. It's all documented. I mean, with thousands of footnotes, so that you wouldn't think we made this up.
Very rapidly thereafter. Apparently, they went to the Jewish rabbi on campus. I'm still not sure if they acted independently. My suspicion is that from the very beginning, they may very well have been in collusion with someone else, but I don't know. They went to their rabbi. The rabbi called me, tried to set up a meeting. They went to the chair of my department, Africana Studies. They went to the dean of the college, one Nancy Kolodny, who apparently is a very observant Jew. They went to everybody they could. I told their rabbi when she called me, I said to her, well, okay, I'll tell you what. If you think that this book is racist and anti-Semitic, and I ought not to be teaching it, she wanted to come to my office to have a meeting with me. So I told her, well, I have a better idea. Why don't you come to my class? If you think the book is so awful, I will give you an opportunity to come to my class and to talk to my class directly about how awful this book is. I will let the class read the book, and then I'll let them decide for themselves whether what you said was true or whether what I say, that the book is, a straight, factual account of the Jewish involvement in the slave trade is correct. This, to me, for anybody genuinely seeking truth, would have been a golden opportunity, to bypass me and come direct to my students. She said yes, she would. But of course, having reconsidered it for a day or two, she called me back and said no, she didn't think that was a good idea. And this became, the pattern that was to replicate itself over and over for the next several years. I've discovered in this, battle with these folks for the last several years that they never like to flush out the truth in a normal, open fashion. They seem to operate best when they can use their leverage over whatever in the media or whatever to defame you from a distance, but they avoid open debate as much as possible. So she preferred to stay in the background and write memos and stuff, but she would not come to my class to confront me in front of my students. Things escalated again very rapidly. We have an institution called Academic Council, whereby, it's basically a faculty meeting that takes place periodically. A few weeks afterwards, I'm not sure, precisely when, I went to an Academic Council meeting. And to my surprise, my chairperson, another black person like myself, from my own department, obviously Africana Studies, to my surprise, he got up and made an impassioned speech denouncing me as an anti-Semite. He was followed by a Jewish professor. They had set this up prior to the meeting. This was an unusual procedure for an academic council meeting, but they had obviously set this up. So he was followed by a guy called Larry Rosenwald, a Jewish professor who did the same thing. And from that point on, you could say the battle was joined. Things went downhill very rapidly. The student newspaper began publishing these, inflammatory articles encouraging students to boycott my classes and so on. At the next meeting of the Academic Council, I asked for permission to respond to the speeches that had been made, by the Africana Studies chairman and Larry Rosenwald. They gave me permission and I spoke. My speech is actually reprinted in the book, The Jewish Onslaught. It's near the end of the book. It's called An Answer to My Jewish Critics. I basically told them that I was, a historian. I had to take the facts wherever the facts took me. I explained to them that I had been teaching this course at Wellesley College for 20 years. I had dealt with the involvement of Christians and Muslims, even African collaborators in the slave trade. Wherever the facts took me, I went. I had become aware of the Jewish involvement, and I saw no reason why anybody should object to my dealing with the Jewish involvement. And I asked them rhetorically, who were they who gave them the authority to come into my classroom to tell me what I should teach, what I should not teach? And who were they, people who claimed to have been the victims of great suffering? What kind of authority did that give them to come and try to, introduce this kind of extreme censorship into my classroom? A large contingent of my students were present in the Academic Council. They were not supposed to be there, but they came anyway. They tried to get them out, but they stayed. And of course, I was greeted with much applause from my students. I was greeted with stony silence from the rest of the gathering. At this time at Wellesley College was under the power and authority of a large number of Jewish people. The image of Wellesley College that most people have who know about Wellesley is a college which is the bastion, of the WASP element, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant element. And that may be what it was a long time ago. But in recent years, the Jewish element has, emerged as stages of this Jewish situation where the acting president of the school was a Jew. The dean of the college was a Jew. The head of student government was a Jew. The assistant head, deputy head of student government was a Jew. The head of the board of trustees was a Jew. Possibly the majority of the tenured faculty were Jews. Many of the major figures in key positions, vice presidents of this and that, those kinds of folks, dean of this and that, a lot of those folks were Jews. So clearly, literally, I was dealing with a school in which Jewish power was entrenched. And that was the context in which I had to deal now with this Jewish onslaught.
Do for self or suffer the consequences. The wisdom of Elijah's inside of the conscientious. So I move with it.
All right. All right. That's how you set that thing off right there on a week such as this.
Yeah.
That's how you set that thing off right. You know what I mean? Shout out to Mr. Tony Martin right there. For those of y'all that's not familiar, that's the master scholar Tony Martin. He has a book called The Jewish Onslaught. He has done a lot of work pertaining to the relationship between blacks and Jews historically. So check him out if you're not familiar with him. But at any rate, welcome, family. Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. This is the Black Business Showcase. I am the God Sincere Love, and of course, I am here with my lovely co-host, nyctegur. We are in the building. What's going on, everybody?
We hear another exciting guest. I'm super excited to chop it up with our brother Fobbs, and I hope everybody else is just as excited. Come on in, pile on in the room.
Show is. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel if you haven't done that already. Head on over to the YouTube channel if you're watching us on another platform. Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes. Again, this is Sincere Love the Godcast, and this is our weekly series of the Black Business Showcase, where we chop it up with entrepreneurs and business owners. And that is every Wednesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. But you can also catch us for our regular broadcast on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, where we cover current events and talk about lots of issues that are important to what's going on in Black society. So check us out for all of that.
All that.
And I ain't gonna waste too much more time because that was a long clip right there. Let y'all know who we got coming to the stage tonight. Fobbs the chairman, man. We got Fobbs the chairman. He deals with black fantasy, sci-fi, horror, history comics, and graphic novels. Based out of Houston, Texas, Fobbs Publishing provides quality Black storytelling and concepts across different forms of comics and graphic novels. Unlike mainstream offerings, you won't see slaves, drug dealers, and struggle stories here. Becky, a horror graphic novel, is available now, and our next offering, Black Facts About Each United State, is coming soon. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our guest for this evening, Fobbs the chairman. Peace.
Hey,
what's going on, family?
What's going on, everybody? We're here from the lab in Houston. We're in the back working on the next story and everything. I should update that because Black Facts is available now. You can go on the website. Yeah, you can actually go on the website and get that book right now. And like it says on the title, every state. There you go. And like it says on the title, every state on here is represented. It's kind of backwards, but every state, all 50 are in this book, and it's coloring book in the back. It's art. These pages are great. We had an artist from overseas. We were able to get crowdfunding, and this woman did a fantastic job on all of them. Yes. So there's a few. Here's another one.
Very
dope. That's kind of how they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So these are children's books, correct?
Yes, this one they're for all ages. This is our children's book. Becky is more for the adults. There's a third title. If you go on there, Richard Green, we're actually out of those right now. Um, yeah, it's actually for about kids 11 and up or so. So
Okay.
at the end of this ride, there will be stories for Black people of all ages, all interests. That's kind of where we're headed to.
Okay, so Becky was the first one that was released.
Yes, this is the first one I was able to release. It started as like a 16-page book, but people like that 16-page book, so I was able to make a second one and then a third. And then people wanted it all just together. They wanted it all together as one book, and that's what you have right here. And you got let's see, since we're on some Black friendly channels here. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace to our brother here. We got our friend here. He is our friend, the late great Kevin Samuels. He is inspired a character in Becky.
That's awesome.
He inspired a character. Now this book was written before his passing.
Okay.
This book was written before, but it's a story about a twisted relationship that a sister has to deal with. So why would she not do what women with unique relationships do? Why would she not call Kevin Samuels about this shapeshifter that's taken over? So antics ensue. But that's the type of stuff that we're doing. And if you order that book, you get this Becky keychain as well, by the way. You get the sister right there. Because a lot of people like anime. A lot of our people like that, but there's not a lot of Black characters. So here's one for the sisters, And if you go online on our website, Richard Green, that's one with the brothers on it too. So this is what we're trying to do as well.
Man, that is dope, man. That is dope.
So Becky with the good hair? Is that Becky with the good
hair?
Yeah,
it kind of is. It is. It's supposed to trigger some horror, inside of in sisters. This is like the worst type of woman that you could catch a man with, and it's a whole twist to it. So hopefully people enjoy that.
Okay. Man, so we definitely got to get that origin story and bring us back, man. Tell us about yourself and, how you even got interested in, this type of stuff in the first place and what led up to all of this.
Yeah, so me, I've always liked to write. Ever since I was young, things like that. I had always really honestly wanted to go writing, just working, Hollywood and just do screenwriting. But we live in Houston. There's not a lot of avenues out of Houston to do that. So I went working in media at a news station and some things like that. I still got to write a little bit, but just dealing with all political stuff and things that a lot of Black people in news that if you look up those horror stories, you can find out what was going on. And so that just wasn't for me. So I left there, but I was always writing my stories. I was always putting some of these out. I was actually living in Atlanta for a little bit too. And that's just kind of where things really took off. There's actually online, I think it's still searchable. Becky was made into a movie, like a very low budget movie. I was able to do that with a few folks out there in Atlanta because, that's like a Hollywood place out there. So
Right.
I was that's out there on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, so I moved back to Houston.
I got to search that.
Yeah, search that. And I'll send it to y'all too. But yeah, moved back to Texas, just back to be closer to home. Was always writing, and when the pandemic hit, that's when just going through my ideas, and the 16-page book of Becky came out, and it just went from there. So now I travel across the state. Now that we're open back up, anywhere down south opened up first, right? So we I go across down to San Antonio, Corpus Christi, and South Texas, and things, and just go and sell. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago, we talked pre-show. I was out in California, out at Black Star Collectibles with Kareem and the family there.
Shout out to Black Star Collectibles.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out. They are a big support and a big ally. Yes, and I want to give a shout out too to Gulf Coast Cosmos too. That's a Black-owned store, comic book store here in Houston. I think it's the only Black-owned comic book store in Texas, in the whole state. They carry our books too, so I gotta say shout out to Byron and them.
What's the name of the store?
Gulf Coast Cosmos.
Gulf Coast Cosmos? Oh, Gulf Coast Cosmos. Got it. Yeah,
Gulf
connect
Coast
us with them
Cosmos.
if you can. Connect us with
For
them.
sure.
Write them down too.
Yeah, we definitely will. So that's just where we are, just kind of growing it. I even have a few, like a short story or two on what is that? One of those writer sites. You can go on my Instagram, Fobbs the Chairman, and see a link to that. So I just like writing and creating and writing things with my type of writing. If people ask, would be the stories I wanted to see, with black people in. I didn't really grow up with the Boys in the Hood movies. I didn't grow up with Baby Boy and all of that. It was more like, like Disney and these type of things. And it's like there was no black people in any of this.
Right.
It's like there's lots of black people that like this. But the thing is, we don't get the opportunity to create those. They want to put us in a box. There was a brother, who was it? There's a new Tom and Jerry movie on HBO Max, and it's directed by Tim Story, a black director who did, I think, The Best Man. One of those movies, I think. I don't know if it's The Best Man or not, but it's really good. And it's one of the few times, a black man gets to create something that's just not what you typically see from us. So that's what my stories are. That's really, no matter how crazy they get, no matter how all these directions they go in, that's what it comes back to. I want to put black people front and center just in these stories that we've always really, really wanted to see,
All right. So what is your creative writing process like?
So the process, I always start with just the type of show or movie that I like. With Becky, I like Halloween. I have not seen Halloween in, so nobody spoil that for me. I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
Yeah, but
I heard it was trash.
I've heard that too. I hope not. But it's what it is that movie, people are, I mean they're like 40, 50 years into this thing, because it's those two characters routinely going at it. It's kind of like Batman and Joker going at it. So I always think, like, what do people like about these movies? Why do I watch them? And so for example, that's why I watch those. So when I created Becky, one thing I wanted to do was, it's always these two going at it, always again and again and again. So those are the type of characters that endear. And again, they're couldn't be two different people. I mean, obviously one's black, one's white, one's sane and normal, one's evil and chaotic, psychotic. So that's what really makes your stories pop. And then from there, I just add, let's make the main character a sister. She's gonna have whole different mannerisms. I grew up around that. This is where it matters to have a black writer. Or they need to have that, because I've grown up around black women, like a sister, my mom, all of that. So I kind of know their like a sister's mannerisms and what's to happen. So we just put that in there. We just sprinkle things in there, and just kind of combine it from there. I mean, obviously there's certain story arcs and things that, technical stuff we could be here all night talking about, but that's pretty much just the beginning of the process when I kind of decide what I want to write.
Do you draw also?
I don't draw. I've tried to. I'm just not an artist. Yeah, not at all. Like, and that's why it's called Wattpad, Wattpad, by the way. Wattpad, that's where my short stories are. That's why I just kind of decided to just start writing those, because I don't always have access to an artist. They're on other commissions, and it's kind of tough. So I'm just always the writer. I'm always wanting to write something and get an idea out there.
Cool. So, man, talk about the process for the first book, obviously, getting everything formatted, published, all of that. Like, did you already have an inkling based on your history and, writing for the news and stuff like that, of how things get done, or was you just had to learn as you go?
For a little bit, I knew that you had to read everything. That's the first thing. That's what I learned from news. Read and know as much as you can. Information is key. So the printer that I use, the company, they have a whole entire beginner setup. It's like a 5-page thing. I read it from beginning to end of how to set up my pages and format them. Before I even hired an artist, I had to figure out, okay, how big does this book need to be? It's like this is like a standard comic book size, right? So make sure you have that. Then when you go to your artist, let them know, hey, this is what you're going to kind of be working within. You're going to work within these dimensions and this measurement, So once the artist, he or she and I, whoever and I have collaborated and put the storyboards together and everything. They then come together. They'll then do their first draft. We'll take a look at that and say, okay, do we like this? Do we not? All right, what do we need to do? And it's kind of a back and forth. Like, I know that I'm paying them, it's a commission, but it's good to have an artist's eye. It's good for them to throw in suggestions because they'll have some things that you didn't see. So once we do that, the pages, they're all pretty much formatted. We upload them to the Photoshop, label them each page, send them off to the printer, and they send them back to us in about 2-3 weeks or so.
And the first go round, were you completely satisfied, or?
I was, honestly. I really was. That's why I stuck with them. It really, and that's in a sea of things that have been extremely difficult. I'm glad that was an easy one. That was pretty easy. They put it out. It can compete with anything that's on the rack there. It looks quality. The pages are great. The color is vibrant. I was very happy with them.
Okay.
Now, do you always know what colors you want to go for? Is that something that they do once you have the manuscript together? Do they come up with the color ideas and then you just kind of approve it as you guys go? Or do you already have the colors in your head after the manuscript is written?
While I'm writing, I have the colors in my head. So I just kind of talk to them about the palette, just kind of the base colors, So Becky is already kind of pink and blue. It's kind of dark and misty kind of feel. So that's what I want them to do. Black Fax is more. I wanted more like a this. So this one I actually told them. I think is it J.A. Rogers? It's a brother that's a historian. It's a book called Your History. And I showed our artist. She's overseas. I showed her that book, and I told her that was kind of what I was going for, because I remember reading that book. About 3-4 years ago, and it was really, really good. And that's what inspired this one. So I told them these are kind of the colors that I want to go for, because that's kind of what he was working with. And then just from there, we just kind of branched it out. So, like I said, that just goes back to where the inspiration comes from. It comes from everywhere, because I like to pick up and read or watch a lot of, different type of stuff.
Cool. All right, so then after that, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask him what inspires you to write. Obviously, you say you were always a writer. That's what you like to do. Do you just get your inspiration by day-to-day activities, different movies, books you've read? How does these stories get in there to make it to
Yeah. So it's really, I guess, the base. I could say they come from movie ideas and things, and a lot of them do. But just as far as what makes them different, the characters and what they go through, just different things I've been through in life, different things I watch other people go through, different things I put people through in life. Just like we affect everybody in the world around us. So that's really where it comes from. It really comes from just places I was at or am at, or places I want to be in life. Or like if it's on the women's side, like things women have told me or I've heard, and it's like, well, what if we put that in a story? What if we put that in this movie or this concept? What would that look like? How would our people react to that? How would they feel about that? So that's what makes it fun to write too. Just to write and just to see the reactions, because again, it's just something fun and out of left field for us, and we need that. We definitely do. So that's kind of where it comes from.
And so, let me see where I should go there. I should go to the publishing aspect. First, explain just for laymen exactly what a publisher is and what that process is like, and your decision to self-publish, as well as I know you mentioned working with other authors and stuff like that. Talk about the whole publishing aspect of your company.
Well, publisher basically is somebody that's going to promote your book. They a big publisher, like, let's say for kids like Scholastic, they have access to the book fairs. They have access to, channels. They'll basically supercharge what you're trying to do and just get it out there quickly. Ultimately, in my opinion, it has to be good, or it's not gonna work all the way. Because there's books from like celebrities and stuff. I think Justin Timberlake had a book that they promoted. He had some big publisher on. It didn't even sell like 90,000 copies. They put this big pushers. It was one of those famous people. It may have been him, but so it can't fail. But that's basically what a publisher does. So independent publisher, you are creating your own channels. You are creating your own relationships. You are pretty much your own distribution hub. So for example, if I was with Scholastic Publishing, they would have just put my books out in Black Star Collectibles in California. All right, they'll call them up, they'll work it out, or they'll have like a magazine. Hey, here's all these books. Look at this guy. Look at Fobbs. Get this one. Okay, we'll get a bunch of those. So indie publishing, I go out there myself or call and develop the relationship myself. Put a few books out there and they sell, and slowly it grows. It's like planting a garden, because when you're indie or an independent or, self-published, it takes a long time. It takes a while. So it's about growing it. It's about finding different avenues. It's about being willing to pivot to something that works and always looking for that. And you know what? That's what the big publishers do too. The difference is they have more money to do it. These companies are doing the same thing you are. I tell people that all the time. It's no different. They just got more money. They got the venture capital, the guys that giving out millions, whatever. They've gotten some of that Department of Education money, honestly. When you look at those PBS kids shows, what is it? Some of them are funded by the Department of Education. I think Arthur had that logo. When you see that blue tree on there, if you look at the intro of these kids shows, that's the Department of Education. They've given this production company a grant, so that's the main difference. So being independent is just about working your way until you're able to do more things and able to do some of that. And I guess for us, it's good because when I started, when we started, we're able to get back out there in earnest this year. I only had, just this one book, and now we have 3. We have products. We've got multiple stuff now. So that's really what it's about, just growing it from there. Hopefully next year we'll have more.
There's another Black bookstore here called Malik Books. Have you heard of that here in California? It's in LA.
I haven't.
Malik Books. They're also on Instagram. I'll send you a link to his page, and maybe you can get in there too.
Sure.
Oh yeah, we gotta hook you up with all the Black stores. We gotta hook you up with all the Black stores.
Yeah.
So, what I was going to ask is, what are some of the key things from your experience that some of the vendors look for when you're contacting vendors to try to get them to pick up your books?
I would say a complete story helps. You don't want to be and admittedly I didn't do it like this, because you don't want to have like, all right, issue 1, then later issue 2. It's hard to keep people like that. Just have a complete story, or as complete as you can, so definitely have that. I would have just have, be patient, be willing to listen, and just have it store quality. That's the main thing. Store quality. If it looks like something that can go on the rack, that and you've put in the work on your story, and if you did or not, more often than not, they'll at least give it a trial, get a few copies, put it out there and see what happens. That would be my main thing. Focus on how the book looks and feels. If you do that, you can get in there with some of them.
Is that what they look for more so than the actual story itself inside the book? They look at the quality, they look at, the colors, how, I guess expensive it may look. I don't know. What is that?
Yeah. Well, you look at if you go to a place like Barnes and Noble, you look up some of their graphic novels and things like that. They just have a certain feel. They have a look to them. Even ones that are in like black and white. They have a certain look, because they sell manga books there, which like Japanese comics. Those are all in black and white, but they look high quality. They look well drawn. They don't look like, stick figures and, just like a kid made it or something like that, uneven panels and stuff like that. When you look in here, you know, even this is one of a starting artists, but all the panels look the same and things like that. You know,
It looks
that
really
type
good.
of stuff. Yeah, the words are clear and you can see them. The story, I would I don't really, you know, I could say what type of story they're looking for, but that's all subjective. That's all subjective. I would make the best story. If somebody wants to say, well, no, tell me which way to go, start with the middle schools. Start with like ages 8 to like 13, because candidly, I work at a school just like as a support staff, and they say that that's where they lose the kids is like 3rd grade. So if you're gonna get out there and write something, you want to know what to write something for them. That's a good spot to start at. So there you go, for whatever that's worth.
No, that's good. That's a good tidbit right there. That's a good tidbit right there. Have you made it into? I ain't gonna say made it, but are any of your books in some of the major stores, Barnes and Nobles, things like that yet?
Nah, not yet. We're still working to get them in. I know Barnes and Noble. It's a couple of steps that they need that I just need to fill in, and do, and then after it takes like a little bit of time for them to approve or disapprove. You know, it's one of those just send it in and wait for a while. But yeah, we're trying to get in, and really, honestly, I'd like a world where I'm just in with the black-owned stores. I would love that. I think that, at least for my purposes, there's enough black-owned stores to just carry our stuff, you know. But that's again, like that's that'd be my ultimate goal, because when I go to some of these white-owned stores, you know, some are okay, but you know, it's always a toss-up. You never know what type of reaction you're gonna get when you're dealing with some of them. I've had some good experiences and some bad ones, you know. So I'd like to just keep it in the family, but we'll see how it goes.
I love the mindset. But I've seen some of your, some of your pop-up events, and you do get some white customers coming to your table to support.
Oh yeah,
all of that. I know I seen one of your videos. You had to put something out there for some of the white customers that be asking weird questions or trying to come over there and educate you about Black history and stuff like that. Talk about some of that stuff.
Oh man, they would try that all the time. Oh man, it's annoying. They're everybody was Black Lives Matter. Everybody's got a Black family member. I mean, you name it, man. You name it. It's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, they donated. You know, it's always something. It's something. The best ones are the ones that'll ultimately buy like one or two. Like there's a lot of them come by and buy 2 of them. So that's always a good thing, you know. Yeah, it's interesting hearing those reactions when you write this type of book, you know.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to make this one into a cartoon. That's what I'm actually trying to do. If you go on our website, if you go on our website and join our email list, I send that out once a week that, hey, we're trying to do a cartoon. I have a whole pitch deck for it. So, what would it look like? What would it be? I have all of that. Yeah. So
pitch it right now. Let us get the pitch. You never know who's watching.
So if you're familiar with the Magic School Bus, if you're familiar with Carmen Sandiego, these type of shows, that's what I have. It's called Black Facts About Each United State. The show features a Black teacher. His name is Gilbride, Mr. Gilbride. You know, he's got a family and everything, but there's 3 kids that he goes on these back in time adventures with. He's got this magic watch. He's like, all right, let's go back in time, bringing history to life. Because one thing I hear, you know, is that the kids say that history is not relevant to us. And it's, you know, being a public school, I can't really just tell them that. I mean, okay, yeah, a lot of what y'all learn is complete bullshit. You know, a lot of it's complete bull. It is, you know, the Articles of Confederation, you know, the founding heroes of fathers. They know that that's crap. They tell me that the Constitution is never followed. I'm like, yeah, they live in a post-Trump world. They know it's crap, you know. So this show with actual Black history facts is making history relevant for them. And it's an adventure show. It's this guy and these 3 kids on these adventures. So they meet, for example, Bass Reeves. So they go on an adventure with him. You know, Elijah McCoy is a brother Elijah McCoy is in here from Michigan, you know, who invented, help with them create, you know, help the steam engines run. So they help stop a runaway train. There's brothers here in Alaska. Let me see this page. His brother's here in Alaska, so they go on a whaling adventure with them. Yeah. So every episode is something different, and they help learn that history is relevant. They learn problem solving, math. Black people did all of this stuff, so we can put all of it in there. That's pretty much the pitch. It's a 22-minute animated show. And at the end of it, the last 3 minutes, we'll go to that actual place, and some park ranger or somebody will tell us more. So after the Alaska episode, some park ranger will be like, yeah, well, it was black people here. This happened, blah, blah, blah. And they don't have to be black, but at the end of it, they have to say every black child should learn about the truth about black history. They're all going to say that. So
and we were
that's
everywhere.
The pitch. Mm-hmm.
We were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's certainly good that you have the mindset that you have that, basically we all we got, and that's really all that we need, because just based on that pitch and the content, we already see that they're banning these type of books from school libraries and things like that, under this whole CRT garbage that they're trying to push. And so, yeah, the minute that they hear something like that, they're gonna label you, oh yeah, that's CRT. We don't want our kids learning that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good thing that you already have that mindset that, look, I wasn't trying to reach you anyway. You wasn't the audience I was looking for anyway. So, you know what I mean?
But guess what? They know see what's gonna come by it anyway, because they want to know what we know.
Yeah, they gotta know.
Regardless.
And a lot of them think that it's gonna be some like whites did this to them, blah blah blah. They're like, this is great. Oh my god, like yeah. They're not even in it. The thing is, they're not even in it. No white people are in this book. I made a point to do that, so they can't say critical race theory is based on. Well, you're making us feel bad. What do you mean? We're not even talking about you. How is this critical race theory? We don't even need to mention you. Okay, fine. We've got enough great stories without you. See, they think we can't live without them. That's why. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll call your bluff. Fine.
Man, that's a good retort right there for the BS. For sure. And so it's not just children's book that you guys are going to be publishing. You mentioned earlier different genres of books. I see some of the people in the chat was asking, but so talk about some of the stuff that we can expect coming from Fobbs Publishing.
Well, the next story in Becky is on the way. That's up next for sure. There was a little crowdfunding I was able to do. Got a little bit of cash for it, so we're doing about several pages of that. So if you follow us on the Instagram there, Fobbs the Chairman, or you join the email list at Fobbs Publishing, you'll get to see some of those new pages. The first one, I just got an email from her like minutes before we started tonight. So if that page looks good, I'll be uploading that tonight here before we call it a day. So that's pretty much what's coming next. Beyond that is just so many different stories. My favorite one is I would call it, to make it simple for people, a Black Harry Potter story, basically. Where basically a world where magic has been stolen from us. We were the originators, but Merlin, this storied Merlin, no, he's an evil wizard in this universe. He stole it from us. So now, about a century later, these kids are trying to get it back. So it's kind of like a Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings journey with us in it. Since they don't want us to be a part of Lord of the Rings, that's fine. I got one coming. Y'all don't have to worry about that. We got to get out here and make that stuff. We got it coming.
Love it.
I love that. So outside of your, writing, because you love to write, could you name 2-3 books that have inspired you throughout the years?
Oh man, the entire it's so stereotypical, but I'll pick a few. First of all, let me just say the entire Harry Potter series. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm a big time. I'm nerd. Whatever y'all want to call me, fine. I'll take it.
Black nerd. We need y'all.
I am. Yes. I'm House Ravenclaw. For those who know, if you know, you know. So that entire series inspired me just because it was incredible. And then The Invisible Man from Ralph Ellison. That was a good one. Just because of the way it flowed, the way he really played with words and things in there. There were parts where if you didn't know if it was real and if you didn't, and especially when I do my short horror stories that I'm just going to be putting out here, just kind of firing off for people. And I'll be posting that. I'm really, and when I'm writing that is when I'm really inspired by Ellison, because like I said, it just flows. You don't, there's a lot of pages, but you just go through them because it's just so easy to follow. It's so dreamlike and surreal the way he writes. And I would have loved to have seen him being given the chance to write a horror movie or something like that. I think he would have done a fantastic job. Let's see. And then beyond that, was it Native Son? Yes, that was a good one. Just because
Richard, right?
Yes. I remember reading that one when I was about 10 years or so ago. It's like that's always kind of how I feel, just dealing with just how people see you in America. Both of those books really deal with that, really just with like how Black men are seen, and it just kind of the pain, the confusion, the surrealness, honestly, that kind of comes with that. So I like that.
That's definitely a good range right there. Classics. I haven't read any Harry Potter books, but
me neither. My daughter did. My daughter did. She was in love with that. She had those books, the movies, everything. I have not.
Yes. I got the books, the movies, all of it.
I wonder if my son would like those. I might try one of those out with him and see if he takes to it. Because I know there's a lot to read there, and that's what I'll be trying to find for him, something that's going to hold him down for a minute. Because the way he eats the books up, I'll be like, all right, I can't keep up with you, kid.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Harry Potter is it's the shortest one is like 300 pages. He'll be on that one for a minute.
Yeah. What's I gonna say? I had a question for you. Oh, I wanted to talk about how people could support you. I know you mentioned the crowdfunding. Where can people go to contribute to the crowdfunding?
Well, we've wrapped our crowdfunding. We're gonna start it again. Probably here in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna start promoting it again. Basically, what I do is we do one crowdfunding. If it gets all the pages we need, fine. If not, we'll come back and do another one, and then we do another one. So I kind of separate them out by a few weeks. So we'll be firing that up. Right now, if you want to go on Fobbs Publishing, just grab a book. Richard Green is there. Prices start like $10 or so. So hop on there and grab a book if you want to support us. And follow us too at Fobbs the Chairman on Instagram. We're always updating there. And also tell people, let people know. Tell that's a big thing too. I'm always trying to figure out ways to get our stuff out there. And the best way people can do to help with that is to give us a follow and tell people. That's the best way. Tell people that we're out here. We're working for you all. Again, it's stories that I wanted to see as a black person, as a black fantasy nerd, and all that type of stuff. I'm writing it for us. So let people know. We've got all sorts of stuff here too. Yeah, the backpack, the combo, it's all there. It's holiday season. Get started on that early. And then there's Richard Green right there. That's our action adventure one. That's our opening book. That's the opening book for Richard Green.
My son is so into anime so heavily to the point where he told me he wants to go to Japan for a year at least. I'm like, well, why don't you create a black anime character and write your own? He sits here and he looks at the anime with subtitles because everything is in Japanese, y'all. But he's into it.
Well, anime purists will say you watch it the subtitles because the English dubs they're not very good. Like the actors they're not very strong.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's what they
say. It doesn't sound right. But we definitely need those characters. That's the thing, and that's why I did Richard Green. Hopefully the start of that. He's a martial arts artist who quits the police force to try to pull up some of these pictures here too, if you could.
Can you see it good? Can you see it pretty good?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so just he's trying to take down the corrupt forces here in the city of Houston. So he's got an unshakable spirit. They're going to try to alter that. And this is the opening book. And if people like those, like these characters and they like this story and respond to it well, we're gonna make the next one. We'll make book 2.
Nice.
What about wholesaling? People want to buy in bulk or something, maybe for a school, maybe for, I don't know, a daycare. I don't know. Like, do they have those options on your website? Is that something that we would email you for if we wanted to do something like that?
I would say yes. There's an email on there. There's email there on the website, or you can DM me always at Fobbs the Chairman. Let's see. Fobbs at here. I'll put in the comments. Am I able to put something in the comments?
Go ahead.
I'll put it here in our studio chat. I'll just send our business email here, and it's fine for people to have it. This is just the official business email.
Business inquiries only.
Yes, please, because this is it's multiple business email, but yeah, send them that. So we got that if people want to just get a bunch of them. And I have wholesale prices because, like I said, they do wholesale here in Houston at our store here. We do commission out in LA.
Okay.
Now, are you going to offer, or do you offer services to other authors?
Yeah, I do. And again, just DM me. Just like a studio, and I've learned with some of these animation studios that I'm pitching to, everybody's in a different place with their development of their story, and that just kind of determines what we do, how much time goes into it, how much we charge and things like that. If you're at the end and just need a boost, that's different than I need a whole story, and we can do both. I can take you from concept to end. I can take you from concept to book. I can do it for you, so don't be afraid to ask that. Like I said, we're in the lab working on the next story now, so don't be afraid to ask that.
Man, we definitely gonna be hollering at you on the back channel.
Absolutely.
Right. Definitely gonna be hollering at you on the back channel, see if we can make something shake.
Sounds
good. Like I said, we do. I want to mention it. You know what I mean? We do have a children's book that we're working on together. nyctegur, myself, and our moderator in the chat, Crown 808. She's actually the author of volume 1 of a book based on my son 7. And so we've been chopping it up with a few different publishers and trying to figure out what the process is to get this thing done. But sound like you might be our guy, man.
Right.
Oh man, hopefully
sound like you might just be our guy.
Beautiful.
Oh, let me see if I can put this in the chat. Okay, got that. Yeah.
Now, what about if a person is trying to write like I guess an autobiography? I guess you can say it would be, but like not super thick, like a
memoir,
like a memoir. Yeah, more of a memoir, like maybe 75 pages or less.
A memoir. Well, for me, a memoir. People like in depth. They like that with those. So I wouldn't. I would aim for more pages than that. I would, unless you're just doing. Now, if you want to do it in sections, 75 here, people break their stories down and things like that. But, with memoirs, the thing is people want to find out something we didn't know about that person. For example, what was it there on Netflix? They had the Redeem Team on recently about the 2008, USA men's basketball team. And a complaint that a lot of older people anyway had was, we remember this. We didn't learn anything. They didn't learn anything new from that documentary. Now, if you're under a certain age, you don't know anything about that. You don't know anything about 08. I think that's who it's for, by the way. But
right.
That's neither here nor there. But the point is, in a memoir, you want anything that's based on like something real that happened, add something that people didn't know about that person, that thing, that event. And that to me, that requires going in depth, really searching for what do I really want to say with it, so that's what I think when I think memoir.
For sure. So keep typing, Nicety.
Right. And who can I ask also? Who are the who are three people? Doesn't have to be family, but who are the three people that has most inspired, influenced you over the
Oh
years?
man, this just so many. Just if I just have to pick three. Oh man. It's gonna be a lot. Let's see. Where do I want to? Where do I want to even start? Like,
And if you don't make the list of the three,
um,
do not feel left out. He still loves you.
it's okay. Let me think. This guy. I don't know if anybody watches Fox College Sports, but this it's a brother. His name is Gus Johnson, and he is a play-by-play guy on there. He's like one of the few black men that they let there in the booth. That's not an athlete, former athlete. And he took the time to talk to me when I was younger, like in my early 20s. He was really cool. And, just somebody on that stature really pay it forward. He's there because it really taught me to always try to do that to somebody else when you can. Try to pay it forward. If somebody asks you for help and they're just really genuine, sincere. So that was cool. Who else? I would say, and when I was younger, I had a lot of sports people I looked up to that inspired me. I would say Steve McNair, because what he did was so different. That was back when, before like everybody knows now that you have to have a black quarterback to win in the NFL. Pretty much, it wasn't known when Steve McNair got in there. They were still trying to fight that, but he was able to make it happen. He won an MVP, and he came from a black college, so that was really cool. Being younger when I was there. Rest in peace to Steve McNair. And then really, honestly, like James Brown and Michael Jackson. I would say Michael first, because there was this scene in the movie. I don't know if this happened or not. On that old one that they used to air on Thanksgiving on VH1, that
Jackson
6-hour
movie?
epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene in there when he's like just depressed, and he tells his mom, like, there's just so many stories that I have to tell. Like, how do I get them out there? And there's lots of times I feel like that, that I don't think I'm ever gonna get to all the ones that I have, because there's literally over 24 of them,
Wow.
that if I had the money, they're ready to go. And I've been feeling like that, and that's just to look to. I like to think that something like that happened, and just even somebody like Michael Jackson struggled trying to get his stories out there, but he was able to tell them, physically with his body, and musically, he found a way to do it. He got with the right people, and yeah. So those would be my three. Those would be my three from just the
four, because James Brown.
Oh yeah, 4, yeah. And then James Brown, just because just the creativity, but the order that he had his music in, like that Papa Don't Take No Mess song. I like that one. That's the one I like. And it just sounds, it's just really good. Just the way he was able to arrange and put that all together. I don't know. I like it. My granddad used to love that type of music too. So that's just
I go through your stuff on Instagram. I noticed the music in the background on a lot of your stuff is like 80s, R&B, funk type records.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because my granddad and my dad used to like a lot of that. He was a big P-Funk guy, apparently. That was his thing in the 80s.
No, that's what's up. Anything that we didn't think to ask you that you would like to share with the family?
Just, I guess the thing is, just be on the lookout. Just follow us. The website is our rallying point. Fobbs the chairman, the Instagram really is our rallying point, because I post every story that I put there. Every story, like I said, there's the short story that I have that's available now, that's for free there, but you got to go on the Instagram and follow to see it. But there's the books that are out here, and you get this free keychain with it when you order. There's the books and backpack. I'm just putting out a lot of stuff, and just and the reason I do it, and the reason there's so many, again, these are stories I wanted to see. These are things from Black people that I wanted to have when I was younger and didn't get to really experience, with Black faces in them. So Now, hopefully, kids are growing up now. They don't have to worry about that, at the end of this ride, at the end of this journey. So that's where things are headed. Black people who like horror, there's going to be black horror comic books for you. Black people like fantasy, that's on the way. We have our Black history books. So it's just going to be this large media library of games, of stories, of animated features and shows with our faces, and it's just going to be normal. It's not going to be this whole look at all of this, look how great those black. No, that's just what we do, because it's already that's just what we do,
just blacktastic.
So, yes, exactly, because you'll associate black people with horror, with fantasy, with all of that. It'll be normal. That's what we're pushing for. So that's where it's headed.
And as y'all see at the bottom of your screen, follow our brother at Fobbs the Chairman on Instagram, or you can visit www.fobbspublishing.com.
Yes, hit us up.
So we're gonna wind it down a little bit.
Before you do that, because I wanted to ask you about the crowdfunding, man. Teach us about the science of crowdfunding, man. How do you go about the business of raising money to get these projects done?
Well, the first thing, and you guys have a nice one, just the following, have and it doesn't have to be like thousands even, just a few hundred really, or just people that will share your stuff. Really, that's what it is. People that will share your stuff. And then have something that people will want to share. Now, the Black Facts crowdfunding was much more successful than the Becky one, because this is the type of stuff that tends to work on a crowdfunding, like something, for lack of a better term, like with altruistic value, something that people see as altruistic, something bigger, something more noble than what it is, that type of stuff. So that was a big help. Like you all doing a children's book, that's pretty big. Find an altruistic angle and promote that. That's what attracted people who shared, and the people that shared, they shared with some key heavy hitters, because we were able to raise like a few $1,000s for it, So that's what I would do. I would find some altruistic value. I would find people who are going to share it, not just click like, but share and blast it. Do that for like 2.5 weeks leading up to your crowdfunding. Hey, we got this crowdfunding. Just follow it. Just follow the crowdfunding. Just follow it. And then those 2 weeks, post to the crowdfunding. Hopefully some people have followed and they're posting, and you're posting about it, Now, hopefully a few people, 100 people or so, maybe they've followed. Then when you click start, those donations should roll in at least a few from the jump, like 30%. I think the number they said is what you want to have be funded right when you start. We were like 55% funded. We were funded, when we started, it was about 55% of the way there of our goal. And just keep promoting it and pushing it every day. Like it's tough. It felt like a grind. Like just posting that much. Yeah, I didn't realize how much of a grind it was, but just the donations kept rolling in. And that's just pretty much how you're able to do it. Of course it's crowdfunding, so they're gonna take out their cut, but after that they'll put it in there for you, and away you go to make what you're trying to make.
And you use the GoFundMe platform, right?
I used Kickstarter, but I like Indiegogo better. To me, it's a lot more flexible. They don't have an app, but to me, it's a lot more flexible. It's a Kickstarter. It's a lot more set and rigid. You can do more with Indiegogo.
Like different tiers, depending on how much you donate, stuff like that.
You can do that with Kickstarter, but they're just easier to deal with, I guess. You can launch. They don't have a problem with you launching one Kickstarter or an Indiegogo after another. Kickstarter kind of frowns upon that.
Okay.
Like me, I just want. And Indiegogo, you can just get the money even if you don't reach your goal. Kickstarter, you have to reach your goal. You don't get the money.
Okay. I thought it was the other one. I thought it was Indiegogo where you had to reach the goal. Okay.
Indiegogo is the one. Yeah, we didn't reach our goal with Becky, but I was able to get the money, make pages, come back and do it again. See, that's what I like. To me, with a book that's smaller in startup mode like that, I would do, just me personally, I would do Indiegogo. But
So when you first initially did the crowdfunding, you didn't have any pictures or anything of what it was going to look like?
What did I have for the crowdfunding for Black Facts? So for Black Facts, I did put in you should put in some skin in the game. I did put in some money. And just did the little bit of money I made from the events with Becky, I put some of that towards Black Facts. It was, just about 5 pages, I think. And some people, when I was posting on Instagram, I posted it with my Cashapp. I just kind of panhandled it. A few people donated so I got like a couple 20s here and there, like, okay, maybe we got something. So, I mean, even if people are listening, try that. Just make, can you make 2 or 3 pages? Can they be, all right, post it. Say, here's my Cashapp. Okay, use that to make some. And that's what I did. And eventually I just tried a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter had those pages and it went from there.
Nice. You taking notes over there, Nicey?
I am. You saw me. You can see me writing. I'm always writing.
Yeah. The thing is, like they say, if you don't have, what does it say? If you're short on money, long on time. So, I've had to be long on time, and if you're short on time, be long on money, obviously. But so it goes in steps,
Right.
Goes in small steps. So just start with a page. That page be a little book. People were like, what is this? People that grow, if you've grown locks, you know what I'm talking about. There's that ugly stage you go through that first year or so, because it takes a while, but then after a while it grows and looks like something. That's what was with Becky. People were like, what's this? It's like just a few pages, but then it grew and it's like, okay, now I get it. Yeah, of course you get it. Now you see the whole thing. People have to see it, to believe it.
Especially us.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Man, great conversation, man. Good information, man. We kind of stole the free consultation here. That's what it feels like. Nah, but definitely much appreciated, man. Appreciate you sliding through, man. That's what's up. And we're gonna be talking. We're gonna be in touch.
For sure. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Thank everybody that listened and everything. And again, just if you want to support, just follow us at Fobbs the Chairman and share. Let people know we're out here. Go to the website, grab some books, all of that stuff. We're here for you.
Y'all know sharing is free, right?
Absolutely. $3.99.
Yeah, $3.99 to share.
All right, Nicely. You could wind it on down.
All right. So, Brother Fobbs, what does, I'll put you on blast a little bit. No. What does freedom and power mean to you?
For me, the ability to truly pursue what you want to in life. That's what it means to me. Because, I've worked a lot of jobs and things. Like I said, I work at a middle school now, support staff, but I've worked a lot of different places. After I left news, I bounced around. I was in North Carolina, Mississippi, things like that. And you find people out here, especially us, that have a dream, that want to do something, but we are not funded for it. I watched this show, American Greed, on CNBC. It's one of my favorites. It's these white dudes and people, basically, and these foreigners, these others that get all this, are able to secure all this money and just do crazy stuff with it. They're able to find the money and resources that they have to do things and live out whatever dream it is that they want. We're not able to do that. We're not able to have, have that freedom. So to me, that's what freedom means. The ability to get out here, live your dream, whatever passion you have in your heart, and to get it done fully funded, and which basically in America, where we keep scoring money, means be funded, Right. So to me, that's what it means.
Right. And what about power?
Power, power is the ability to do that. Honestly, power is the ability to that nobody can stop you from doing it. You know, we always and I listen. Power is about the ability to punish your enemies and all that. You know, people talked about that. That's true. I'm not here to argue that, but it's the ability to keep people from bothering you and what you're doing. You know, we always get scared when a black person finally has a big time business or something. It's like, oh, they're gonna try to bring them down. Why do they? Why do we fear that? Because they really don't have the power to stop it.
Right.
If somebody decides to go after them, look at I've been out there to LA by that shopping center where they had Nipsey Hussle's that storefront and stuff. Yeah, I've been by there inside. Yeah, and it's real sad. It's boarded up. All of this. And you know, shout out, you know, rest in power. He didn't have the power to stop that. You know, none of us had the power to stop that. So to me, power and freedom work hand in hand. You know, the cost of freedom, they say, is eternal vigilance. That's very true. You know, and that's really the only kind of way we get some sort of power to at least see what's coming and try to stop it. You know, so but yeah, that's just a long way of me saying, yeah, power is the ability to, when you finally find and are able to do what you want to, push people off of you who are trying to stop that. Power is the ability to keep them away.
Block them.
Love it. Love it. Dope answer. And so last part, man, I'll put you on the Summer Jam screen real quick. And the microphone is yours, brother. The entire Black community can hear what it is that you have to say. What parting words would you like to leave us with tonight?
Man, first off, thank you all. Thank you all for listening and seeing and hearing what I have to say. You know, we as Black creators don't get a lot of platforms and opportunity to share our work and say what's on our mind. So I thank you all. I think that we got some B1 people here that we can come together and do that. Like I said, I'm a Black creator. That means to me, being a Black creator, you have a certain duty to your community to not make us look embarrassing, to not make us look like thugs and criminals and all these things. And some people will get mad and say that, well, you can't tell me what to write. You know what? I would say you don't need to be doing this. I know that sounds very controversial, but if you're a Black creator that can't write anything that's not crime and, you know, just negative images of us and things like that, you honestly need to be doing something else, because A, we've got enough of those people already that the Hollywood machine is trying to feed us and pollute our children and our people's mind. B, to me, that's just not a Black creator. And I know that sounds real controversial, but if you're here after that, just make sure that, again, we're putting out Black history books. We're putting out Black horror comics. We're putting out the little keychains and things that, you know, anime collectors like. We got sisters here that are anime characters. We've got all sorts of stuff for you. Why? Because there's a lot of Black people that love this stuff. They love anime. They love fantasy. They love all of it. And just like anything else that's actually positive or something that could be something good in America, they try to keep that away from us. No. You all don't deserve that. I'm here telling you all that we do deserve that. That's really why I'm making this stuff, because we deserve it. And I always think that when I'm driving to work and things like that, why are we doing it? Yeah, we deserve it. We deserve it. You know, we support these people all the time, and Disney, all this. We would support this stuff for 80, 90, 100 years. We deserve stuff that has us in it. That same type of stuff that Walt Disney's been putting out, we deserve it too. And I'm going to give it to us. That's pretty much what it is. So thank you all again for hearing us, and be one.
Be one.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to shout out D Tubman also. Like I said, she's the one that put me on to you and your stuff and all of that.
Shout out to D. She's just amazing. And just this book would not, that's why I put her name. I think I put, let me make sure. I think I put her name real big in here in the back on the thank yous. Let me make sure I did. She's in here on the thank yous. Bear with me. One there. She's right there, real big. So whenever we print this book, whoever reprint this book, her name is in there. This book, and all of you, yes, everybody, Sincere Love the God, all of y'all who put something in it, you know. And I tell y'all this. I say, like, you all don't. This is a dangerous book. I need to start recording people's reactions when they walk by. I've said that on one of my lives somewhere that we all have made a dangerous book. I'm gonna start recording some of that stuff. This is not something to be taken lightly. What you all have done, and I mean that in a good way.
Awesome. That's beautiful.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, family. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in today. This has been another great episode of Sincere Love the GodCast, the Black Business Showcase. As y'all know, we do this every Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure you also check us out on Sundays for our weekly broadcast where we cover current events and talk about important issues pertaining to Black society. And that's on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Who we got tomorrow?
Star. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be back here tomorrow night, you guys, with another episode of the Black Business Showcase. And we will be having, I'm sorry, I'm slow. What's her name?
Star from Lux Botanica. I remember.
There you go.
Star
Lux Botanica. Sorry about that.
Star from Lux Botanica. Yeah. She's basically Black Girl Magic. So make sure y'all tune in for that. She's real fine too. So make sure y'all tune in, fellas. Share this out. All that good stuff. All right, man. That does it, man. I ain't got nothing else.
That does it. Thank you again, Fobbs. We appreciate you, and we will be supporting. I know I will.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna grab those books, backpacks, everything. I need the whole set. So once again, family, remember, we are not the master teachers, but we are the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. That does it for today's episode. Peace. And Black love.
See y'all tomorrow. Most resilient, we poster children of prophecy fulfillment. We gotta be God's children.